The old man sat alone, staring at the last few coins in his hand. His stomach growled, but he knew it wasn't enough. The waiter sneered. The customers laughed. This cafe isn't for people like you. Shame burned in his chest. He stood to leave. Then, a deep voice cut through the noise. "I'll cover his bill." The room fell silent. Everyone turned, and standing there was Keanu Reeves. What happened next shocked everyone. Keanu Reeves walked forward, his presence commanding yet effortless. The whispers grew. Phones lifted, cameras recording, but Keanu didn't care. His eyes were fixed on the old man, whose hands trembled as he gripped his chair. The waiter, still clutching the bill, cleared his throat. "Sir, this gentleman doesn't meet the minimum spending limit." Keanu's gaze snapped to him. "Bring him whatever he wants." The waiter hesitated. Keanu pulled out his wallet and dropped a $100 bill onto the table. "That should cover it, right?" Silence. The waiter grabbed the bill, nodding quickly, and rushed to the counter. The people at the nearby tables exchanged stunned glances. No one had expected this. Keanu pulled out the chair across from the old man and sat down. "What's your name?" he asked, his tone calm, steady. The old man swallowed hard. "Richard." Keanu nodded. "Nice to meet you, Richard." Richard's throat was dry. He looked down at his worn clothes, ashamed. I shouldn't be here." Keanu leaned forward. "Why not?" Richard exhaled shakily. "People like me, we don't belong in places like this." Keanu's expression didn't change. "Says who?" Richard opened his mouth but couldn't find an answer. His shoulders slumped. The waiter returned, placing a steaming plate in front of Richard. Roast beef, mashed potatoes, warm bread. The smell alone made his stomach twist. Keanu gestured to the food. "Eat." Richard hesitated. Then, slowly, he picked up the fork. The first bite nearly made him cry. It had been so long since he had tasted real food. Keanu watched, waiting until Richard had eaten a few bites. Then he spoke. "What happened?" Richard froze mid-chew. He had been ignored for so long that hearing someone really ask, felt surreal. I lost my job," he murmured. "Then my wife got sick. The bills piled up. One thing after another, until I had nothing." Keanu listened, never interrupting. "I used to walk past people like me and think that'll never be me." Richard let out a bitter chuckle. "And now, here I am." Keanu set down his fork. "You know what the problem is?" Richard looked up, confused. "The world moves too fast," Keanu said. "Everyone's in a rush. No one stops to listen." He leaned back. "But I do." Richard's hands tightened around his fork. "Why?" Keanu didn't hesitate. "Because I've been there." Richard's eyes widened. Keanu exhaled, glancing out the window. "Lost my best friend, my sister, my child. Some days I felt like I had nothing left." He looked back at Richard. "But you know what saved me?" Richard shook his head. Keanu smiled faintly. "A stranger. Someone who didn't owe me anything. Someone who just cared." Richard swallowed the lump in his throat. Keanu reached into his pocket and pulled out a small card. He slid it across the table. "My friend owns a small business. He needs someone reliable." Richard stared at the card, his fingers trembling as he picked it up. "A job?" His voice cracked. "You're offering me a job?" Keanu nodded. "A chance." Richard blinked rapidly, trying to keep the tears at bay. I don't know what to say." Keanu smiled. "Then don't say anything. Just show up." Richard clutched the card, hope flickering in his chest for the first time in years. But what happened next changed everything. Richard sat there, gripping the small card as if it were the most valuable thing in the world. His mind raced. A job, a real chance. It felt impossible. The cafe had fallen silent. All eyes were on him and Keanu Reeves. Some whispered, Others took photos. But Keanu didn't care. He wasn't here for attention. He was here for Richard. The old man looked up, his voice trembling. What if I fail? Keanu leaned back, his expression calm. Then you try again. Richard shook his head. I don't have the strength for that anymore. Keanu studied him for a moment. Then, he reached for his coffee and took a slow sip before speaking. You know, when I lost everything, I thought the same thing. He set the cup down, fingers tapping lightly on the table. I thought I couldn't keep going. That life had already beaten me. Richard swallowed hard. But someone once told me, the world doesn't need you to be perfect. Keanu met Richard's gaze. It just needs you to keep trying. The words hit Richard like a punch to the chest. For so long, he had believed that his worth was gone, that because he had failed once, there was no way forward. But here was Keanu Reeves, someone who had seen darkness too, telling him that he still mattered. A lump formed in Richard's throat. He clenched the business card tightly. Keanu checked his watch, then stood up. The address is on the card. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Richard stared up at him. You really think I can do this? Keanu smiled. I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't. Richard inhaled sharply, nodding. Keanu reached into his pocket again and placed a few $100 bills on the table. For tonight, get a warm place to sleep. Richard's eyes widened. I can't take this. Keanu smirked. Too late. Already left it on the table. He winked. Good luck, Richard. With that, Keanu turned and walked out of the café, leaving Richard sitting there, stunned, overwhelmed, and for the first time in years, hopeful. The café was still silent. The same people who had mocked Richard minutes ago now watched in awe. A woman hesitated before stepping forward, placing a $20 bill in front of Richard. Then a man followed, adding another $50. Within seconds, a small pile of cash had formed. Richard covered his mouth, tears streaming down his face. This wasn't just about money. It was about being seen, being valued. The next morning, at exactly 9 a.m., Richard stood outside the address on the card. His hands shook as he knocked on the door. It opened. A man in a crisp shirt greeted him with a warm smile. You must be Richard. Keanu told me you'd come. Richard's breath hitched. Keanu had believed in him even before he believed in himself. He stepped inside. And with that one choice, his entire life changed. Because one act of kindness, one moment of being seen, can rewrite someone's entire future.